This week's Art of the Day presentation is, in fact, a short one. We only have one artist to talk about, and it is the artist Tara Donovan by Ruba Mirza. Tara Donovan was born in 1969 in New York. She received her BFA from the Corcoran School of the Arts and Design, Washington, D.C., in 1991, and her MFA from Virginia Commonwealth University in 1999. Known for fabricating site-specific installations using commonly found materials such as styrofoam cups, drinking straws, toothpicks, paper plates, and pencils. She lives and works in Brooklyn, New York. Here is a critic's statement. Interestingly, Donovan stated on a couple of occasions that she chooses the material before she decides what can be done with it, which is a very unorthodox approach to making art. But then again, her entire practice was always highly unconventional, so the initial method is not such a surprise to anyone who knows the artist's work. Another statement. Donovan's colleague, Chuck Close, explained Tara's fondness of eccentric techniques the best. At this particular moment in the art world, invention and personal vision have been demoted in favor of appropriation, of raiding the cultural icebox. For somebody to go out and try to make something that doesn't remind you of anybody else's work and is really innovative. And I think Tara's work that's very much against the grain of the movement. To me, it represents a gutsy move. Another statement. When Roberta Smith reviewed Donovan's 2003 show at Ace Gallery for the New York Times, she cleverly concluded, "Sometimes more is more than more." Donovan raises a discussion on the ideology of the consumer and the demand capital meets. She does this from the perspective of waste, with her propensity for site-specific productions that result in sculptures destroyed at the end of a show. But her work also comments on the pace of art production today. Here we have four pieces. The top left is made from mylar and hot glue. So imagine a mylar balloon, the shiny kind from the balloon store. You can get that in a roll of material, and so what the artist did here is she uh, bunched it up in interesting ways. Like I believe made a bunch of cones of you roll paper to make a cone and glued them all together. On the top right is transplanted, made from tar paper. So tar paper is a heavy uh, black paper that actually has tar impregnated in it, and that's what you use when you're redoing a roof. It repels water. It's a heavy paper, but this is many layers of paper. So it looks like Tara cut each layer, differently and stacked it so that you get these different peaks and valleys like landscape. Bottom left, plastic cups, and it is a lot of plastic cups, just different, like stacks of different size, creating a landscape again. On the right, acrylic and adhesive. I'm not sure what uh, acrylic means in this instance. Acrylic is a type of plastic, but could be made into anything. Probably straws or like imagine sticks or maybe like chopsticks or something like that, but made out of acrylic. Just tens of thousands of pieces. On the top left, we have slinkies. That's interesting. I suppose that's hanging in the room. Its slinkies all stretched out. On the right is pins, so straight pins. all sort of stuck together and like sort of pressed into each other. So they're not glued together. It's just like a very tightly fitting needle in a needle stack. In the bottom, it's all styrofoam cups, but this time they look like clouds and they're hanging from the ceiling. Oh, these are all pencils. So these are sort of pieces of pencils, maybe pencils cut into different lengths that are glued together and on the floor, so they're standing up on the edge. I'm not sure what we're looking at here on the left. Drawing, pins, 2011 Gatorboard paint and nickel painted steel pins. Maybe they are pins pushed into the board, like straight pins pushed into the board. That might be it. On the right, it's also straight pins. That definitely looks like pins pushed into the board. That's interesting. I haven't seen those before. On the left, cards, styrene cards. I don't know what that means. Maybe like credit cards almost on edge. And then on the right, cards as well. Why do you like or not like the artist's work? I like Tara Donovan's artwork. Most of her sculptures and installations are aesthetically pleasing. She puts together objects into multitude in various forms in a manipulative manner that it is impossible to understand what you are looking at first. Familiar objects become unfamiliar once they are smeared together. Her artwork gives me a sensation of awe. I admire how she creatively turns ordinary mundane objects into a masterpiece. I agree. That's what I really love about Tara Donovan's art. Well, that is it for the Art of the Day presentation. Thank you very much, Ruba. And I hope you guys like Tara Donovan's work.